Black Gay Table Talk brings you Marriage Sessions with Kenan and Dominic. With almost 20 years together, Dominic and Kenan work to bring light to what has them still going strong. Open your minds to new outlooks on companionship, trust, and loyalty.
Destiny sometimes packages your heart's desires in ways you can't fully comprehend. Coast down memory lane with all the laughs, tears, and triumphs worth celebrating.
And this is our love story.
Let's share.
Thanks for joining another episode of Marriage Sessions, brought to you by Black Gay Table Talk. I'm Kenan.
And I'm Dominic.
And this is our love story. I wanted to focus in on the honeymoon phase and kind of shift from the honeymoon phase to the
realization phase. Yeah.
So let's get to it. Our love story.
All right. So the honeymoon phase is normally in the beginning, says it can last up to 2 years, just depends on the couple, but it's all about that passion, that love, that getting to know one another, forgetting about your friends and family. It's just all you, all in, just really loving on each other and enjoying each other's company. You know, just love being around each other, missing each other when you're not there. You know, it's just all about those, you know, that feeling of, I won't say euphoria, but you know, that
It is
I guess
kind of like euphoria.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And it's that good feeling of just with that person being around is just, everything is just amazing and great.
Really?
There's nothing they can do wrong at that point.
Was that the honeymoon phase for us though? Like, did we have that euphoric, you know?
We definitely did.
You think so?
Most definitely, because I mean, because even though I had an apartment, I was mostly at your place, or when I was mostly at your place because you wasn't coming to my place.
You were over there because I can cook.
Well, that too. But yeah, I was mostly over at your place because it was just when I got off, I wanted to spend time with you. I wanted to see you, just be around you, get to know you, you know, just all those.
After I cooked that first meal, his ass wasn't going back home.
That was so true. It was so good.
I'm playing.
Yeah. Plus, again, I didn't really get many good home cooked meals during that time. I was a single boy at the moment. But yeah, it was just, I just wanted to be around you, wanted to see you, happy to see you, couldn't wait to see you.
Really? I was the same too.
Yeah.
I remember I would do this little thing where I would get the house ready, clean up and stuff because I knew when you were coming. And I would have the blinds open, watching out for his car to pull up. And when he pull up, of course, I would run and act like I'm not phased. Like, oh, okay, hey, how are you? Do you think that having the honeymoon phase and shutting everybody out, do you think that kind of, because some people say it's not healthy, right? You need to be out and about, you need to be around your friends and so forth. So do you feel like it was healthy and for us to not and just to kind of, you know, be shut in with each other? Or
I do agree. I think because that's your time to bond, you know? I just thought about it as almost similar to like when you maybe have a child, how you're technically shut up for the world for a moment because you want to bond and get to know that child. I think that's exactly what it was. Hey, forget everybody else. We need to get to know each other and bond and really get on that level of trust, you know, and just getting to know one another. So I'm okay with, hey, you know, I can't hang out with y'all tonight. You know, I'm hanging out with Kenan or, you know, things of that nature. You know what? Hey, I'll see y'all next week Sunday. I'm about to do dinner, you know, so
true.
I'm okay with that in the beginning. And I think if you have some really good friends and family, they know in the beginning that is normally how it is. It really is normally how it is where, oh man, they done got a new one, so we ain't gonna see them for a minute. You know, and that's normally the case. So I think it is healthy because I think at that point you get to know one another, you get to bond and really kind of build on your foundation, you know, that you want to have in that relationship. So definitely, I think it's something that has to be done. It really is.
I agree. So I was thinking about how I wanted to say this, but at the same time. I mean, just being real, and for anybody else who may have been in that situation, I found myself trying to not necessarily perfect who I was,
Okay.
but I wanted to make sure that, I mean, just being real, like, okay, he has to know he has a dime here. Like, he has to know it don't get no better than this. So I feel like during that phase, although we were together and we were bonding and learning each other, I feel like I put forth my best foot as much as I possibly could to, make sure that you knew how you could have it.
I think I did that too. I mean, I think I think you do want to. I think there is a point during that time where you are basically bringing putting your best foot forward.
Yeah.
But I think also in that too, you're letting them know kind of who you really are as well. Because that's the bonding part of it. Getting to really know one another. So yeah,
True.
I enjoyed that phase, and I enjoy that phase, and I will always enjoy that phase. I liked it. It was good. I mean, we
Oh my
really get to know
gosh.
one another. And
you
there's things that I got to know that I was like, oh, okay. And I think it's also too, you get to know maybe things early on, kind of too, to kind of help again that
You were
building.
spontaneous. Oh gosh. You knew what to say, when to say.
Hmm.
You were very attentive and in tune with what was going on with us in the relationship. And this is going to sound so corny,
Okay.
but it's almost like the honeymoon phase didn't stop for me when, I guess they say it was supposed to stop, or it lasts for a year or two.
Okay.
But I will say, I think I moved into the realization phase a whole lot faster, because even in that honeymoon phase, I'm sitting and I'm doing these things, and I'm making sure that I show up and give my best, because I realized that I could spend my life with you,
Right.
So I don't know. When do you think that you moved into the realization phase? The realization phase is like that phase where you really look at the person like, okay, I can see myself with him.
Yeah.
I think we can do this.
I can accept his habits. He do this, but I'm okay with that. It's when
Yeah.
you realize, okay, I think in the honeymoon phase is all about, I can, drink his dirty bathwater, but after the really like, hold on, I'm drinking that, So
True.
it took a minute because I'm thinking back, and I think we were honeymooning it for a minute. We were young, we were doing stuff, getting out there. Man, I think it took a minute. I really can't think of the exact time. I can't put a time on it. I really can't.
And that's fine. So I think
I'll say this. I think maybe it started when maybe we moved. I think when we moved. Because again, that's a huge thing to do, with anyone, is to move. We moved from, the south to the north. And I think that move itself, because it was like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? Are we going to do this? Are we going to figure this out? So I think, you know what? Going through that process, I think the realization for me was like, I think me making this move, yes, I love this man. I really do. And I'm willing to do this because I really do believe that we are going to be together forever. And we are building on, what we started with. So I think for me, that's probably when it started. I
yeah,
can
I
say
saw
that.
how he looked at me when he said forever, right? Forever. Check on me. Check on me.
I'm not crazy.
I think this was before we made that move.
Oh, okay.
State to state. This was when we were living together. But you had gotten sick. And I remember like running you a cool bath
Oh my
to
God.
to try to help, because you had a bit of a
Flu.
fever.
I should. Yeah. I should.
And
I remember
so I wanted to try to help get your temp down, and I think I like pulled out all this Theraflu, all this good stuff. Cooked him some homemade
cold bath. I had never done this when I had a fever.
Cooked him some homemade chicken noodle
Sure
soup.
did.
And that ass was feeling good though. Okay.
Ooh, but I promise you that bath, I was like, what? My mama didn't even do this.
He was like, it's so...
But I do remember that. Wow, I remember getting really. I do remember. I just had the flu and I just had that fever that just wouldn't break. I remember that. Wow.
Yeah.
So
that
for you,
for
that
me
was
was
one.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can see myself taking care of this man, like, and making sure he's good, because when you didn't feel good, I didn't feel good. So when you affected me in that way, I knew.
I do feel though that there is a difference in us when it does come to being sick, and I will say that because when I'm sick, I tend not to be as needy. I'll say that. But I will admit though, I did appreciate in that moment what you did for me, because I probably would have done those things. I wouldn't have done those things. I probably would have just took some medicine, probably went under the sheets I wasn't supposed to go to, still would have been hot. Then eventually maybe go see someone, but I really appreciated the fact that this man is really taking care of me right now. So, okay. And I get where the realization comes in, because you're right. I mean, if you really care about someone and love someone and want to be with them, that's something you would do in a marriage. So I can see how that clicked in for you as far as the realization. So
yeah. And then when I get my late night cravings, like you going to the store.
I know, right?
And making sure I get it.
Midnight. Ooh. I got the sweet tooth.
Okay, don't do it.
Okay, I'm good. I won't do it anymore.
It's something about milk duds after 11 o'clock. It's just something that does it for me, but
yeah, but he has a sweet tooth. I really don't have a sweet tooth. Every now and then I may get it, but I'm not. Yeah. But you get them late. I feel like, why do you get them so late? I think there is a next phase, but I don't think we're there yet.
No, we would have been there. I mean, so, and just for our listeners, so we've been together since what, 2004? 2004. We were in a relationship, but of course we know marriage wasn't legal. Gay marriage wasn't legal, I should say. But once we had the opportunity to, enter in the civil union,
yes,
we did that, and then after that, we converted it to an actual marriage once it was okay. So you look at the phases of marriage. I think for us gay people, like, it's not necessarily fair to say, oh, well, these are the stages of marriage, because there was a certain point to whereas we could not get married like we wanted to, but we were still going through those phases of the relationship, right? Exactly. So in essence, on one hand, you can kind of take away the phases of marriage piece and just call it phases of a relationship,
yes. Exactly.
What was the hardest part, in your opinion, for us in that phase?
Ooh.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first. Let me think too.
I think at a certain point there was like a power struggle, when in actuality there wasn't anything to be gained, if that makes sense. I think you go through this period where it's like, okay, well, I don't want to say I want to rebel because you expect me to be or do, but
the funny thing is, the rebellion stage is the next stage after.
See, I was ahead of the curve. I was ahead of the curve.
So I think we probably did step into it just a bit, but continue. Yes, continue. I'm sorry. I just thought you used the word rebellion, and that just came to mind.
Yeah, I think the more that we realize, okay, so just being 100, I think that there was a certain point in time when you realized how much power I had in your life, and you kind of fought fought against the grain. And then the same with me, I realized how much power you had in my life, so I kind of fought the grain. Like,
but I think that goes back to just relationships. I
true,
do think so.
But it's like we did a lot of doubling down on stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff that I wouldn't even entertain
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
The tug of war that happens
with the power piece.
When we both know I'm going to end up with the power anyway.
That is true. That is true. I've learned to just accept the fact that
that's true on camera.
Just follow through. No, that's for real true. No, you know what? Maybe it was done, I guess, subconsciously on my behalf. I don't remember that. That's so funny. You know how it's amazing, not amazing, but it's how people's perspectives on things are just so much more different. And I don't really remember there being a power struggle, but I will say that, there were times where maybe, I wanted to do something you didn't or vice versa. So there was a struggle to that degree. For example, the move, the move we did. I mean, it was, because again, I forgot how old I was at the time. I was still young. But no, I was thinking like, wow, I've done all this, blah, blah, built this, so forth, is not having to move. And I was like, oh my God, how are we going to do it? How are we going to make it? Kenan, we ain't going. So I was kind of pushing back a bit.
He kicked,
but eventually
screamed the whole way.
No, I didn't. I think once I got on the road, I was fine. Because at that point, because at that point, the decision was made. And I kind of went with it. You know what? What they say, go all in, trust God, whatever they say. But that's really what I did. And I will admit, things worked out. I am happy that move happened.
Yeah.
And it took you pushing me to do it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So not only a stepping stone for us, but it was a moment of growth too, because moving state to state, and this is the move that he's referencing. We moved, from Tennessee to Illinois, but you experienced the growth. Well, I experienced growth because I'd never imagined myself outside of Tennessee or, moving to another state with a man. So in that moment, I had to, put on my big boy drawers and figure out, okay, what's needed? What am I able to give? And it's not just me, it's him too. So I have to reach in, grow up a bit, motivate myself and motivate you at that same time while trying to give meaning to the notion that we can make it if we try.
And I will give you credit. There was a lot of things you did that I didn't think about. For example, just looking for the apartment. Just looking for the apartment, and you got one. I'm like, and I will admit, the one you chose was amazing. So just those little things. Because I think even with us moving, I think I did try transferring with my job, but I couldn't do the immediate transfer. But I still left.
Yeah.
I really left on faith. And yes. I think we moved here in November, and I didn't get rehired until April. So yeah, and I was literally just on faith. So at that point, we were. I think I did have a job. I forgot where it was, but I did have a job. But it was just more so in place until I knew I was going to get rehired, which I did.
Yeah.
But again,
it takes a lot, especially. But at that point, we had been together maybe 5 years.
Yeah, you're right.
6 years or so. So there was enough of that. Okay, we're doing decent together. A change of environment won't impact trusting that I'm going to show up and make sure the bills are paid, or he's going to do the same. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, don't be afraid to take risks, right? Because you're taking a risk on the person to begin with, right? If you were able to make it through that honeymoon phase and you two are able to come together on that same common goal, which is we got to make it. It's okay to take risks, but also trusting yourself in that risk taking is another key too.
So. Yeah, I think you're kind of going with your gut, because sometimes your gut is right. And I think at the time, part of the move kind of tied back to the job market and what was going on at the moment too. And so we just felt, you convinced me that it was just best for us to move. And I will admit, I'm glad we did. I will admit, and I've said that before, but I will say it again. I'm really glad we moved. Because now when I go back to visit, I'll be like, oh, wow.
Not knocking our hometown.
Yeah, not knocking it down,
my
but like,
hometown.
Yeah, but I mean, I lived there for a long time too. But I'm glad we moved. It's just so different. And again, it kind of goes back to how when you live somewhere, that perspective is what it is, and you see it until you go other places and see what things look like. And so I don't know. I'm glad we did. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, I will admit. Oh, we argued though. We argued
When
during that realization
Flash
phase.
Rebellion, yeah.
Yeah, we argued. And it was never a situation where, oh, he's not coming home or he's not coming home, or it was just, I think what it was as we were realizing how, like I said before, how powerful we were in each other's lives, or I think I don't know, it kind of shook us a bit. But we did argue, y'all.
But we made it through. We're here.
We did. We made it through.
I don't argue no more. I'm too tired to argue now. I just don't say much of anything, or I just agree. That's what I do now.
That's what you do.
I do that.
Communication definitely had to be enhanced, right? So we've moved past the honeymoon stage or phase, and now we're in the stage where we're realizing, okay, he doesn't do that the way I like it done. So damn, either I'm gonna have to do it or he gonna have to adjust the way that he does it. Let me see if I can, you know what I'm saying? So you're kind of testing those limits with each other. But in that, all it takes is one. So somebody has to be willing to come to the table like, look, this didn't work for us when we tried this, or we tried to have this conversation about XYZ, but it failed. Where did you see the failure being, in your opinion? Like, what did you hear me say? So somebody has to be that one to champion resolutions, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
And I think you're the one that do. I tend to want to hold on to an argument, but I think it takes time for me to get back to where I need to be to think thoroughly behind something before I guess we can get to that place of what you just said. So
True.
Yeah.
And then too, if you're not that person, or if neither of you are that person that is creative or tries to come up with new ways of handling situations, reach out for help. Like many days I can remember going online. Yes, Google was out. I can remember going online and Googling ways like, okay, how can I communicate, or how this, how that? Because I wanted a resolution. You know what I'm saying? So if you want the resolution, but you don't know fully how to achieve it, don't be afraid to think outside the box or step outside of yourselves or the relationship to find some help to get you there.
Totally agree. I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I love you.
Oh, I love you too. Yes. So again, thank you for joining Marriage Sessions. I hope you come back and continue with us on this journey. If you haven't already, stop by www.blackgaytabletalk.com. You can take a look at our other podcast series, and you can take a look at our shop. Some retail therapy never hurts, okay? So we got some exciting stuff for you. So thanks for joining again.
Thank you.